In a world saturated with noise, constant connection, and the relentless pressure to conform, there exists a rare and often misunderstood figure: the woman who chooses solitude. She is not lonely. She is powerful. Society, steeped in its ingrained biases, frequently misinterprets solitude as a deficiency, a sign of weakness, as if a woman devoid of a bustling social circle must be somehow lacking. This perception, however, couldn't be further from the truth. The woman who consciously and deliberately chooses to spend time alone is, in essence, choosing herself. She is not seeking distractions to escape uncomfortable truths. She is not desperately seeking validation to bolster a fragile ego, nor is she clamoring for approval to fit into a predetermined mold. Instead, she has cultivated the rarest and most valuable skill of all: the ability to be at peace with her own thoughts, to find solace in her own company, and to navigate her own unique journey with unwavering self-assurance. This kind of woman is dangerous, not in the way the world typically fears, but in a way that profoundly disrupts the established order. Her danger lies in her inherent uncontrollability by superficial allurements, insincere promises, or fleeting emotions. She derives no satisfaction from external validation because she has already affirmed her own worth from within. She doesn't chase after attention because she has already dedicated herself to something far more significant: her own personal growth, her unwavering sense of purpose, and her expansive vision for the future. While others incessantly seek external stimulation to drown out their own insecurities, she purposefully embraces the silence, understanding that true clarity is born in stillness. She has mastered the art of solitude, and in doing so, she has unlocked a level of strength and self-awareness that eludes most people. This essay will delve into the multifaceted nature of this powerful archetype, exploring the reasons why a woman who embraces solitude is not just content, but truly dangerous in the most empowering sense of the word. The body, unveiling the unstoppable force within. When a woman learns to genuinely enjoy her own company, she becomes unshakable, a force to be reckoned with. She is not afraid of being alone because she does not fear herself. She has confronted her inner demons, wrestled with her doubts, and emerged victorious, forging an unbreakable bond with her own being. She does not rely on others to entertain her, to constantly reassure her, or to make her feel complete. She is whole and self-sufficient on her own. When a woman reaches this level of self-sufficiency, she becomes virtually impossible to manipulate or control. She does not fall prey to empty flattery. She does not lower her standards for fleeting pleasure, and she does not compromise her deeply held values simply to conform to someone else's narrow-minded idea of who she should be. Because she has invested countless hours in solitary introspection, she knows precisely what she wants from life, what she deserves in relationships, and, more importantly, what she will never tolerate. This unwavering clarity is what makes her so formidable. She cannot be easily swayed by external pressure, by the fear of loneliness, or by the insidious whispers of doubt. She has faced all of those challenges head-on and conquered them in the quiet sanctuary of her own presence. A woman who spends time alone is a thinker, a dreamer, a strategist, a visionary. She has meticulously used her solitude to gain a profound understanding of herself, to break free from ingrained patterns of thinking and behaving, and to meticulously construct a life that is authentically aligned with her truest values. She does not seek out relationships out of desperation or a need for external validation, but rather out of a conscious and deliberate choice to share her life with someone who complements her journey. She does not tolerate disrespect in any form, because she has cultivated an unshakable sense of self-respect. She does not settle for less than she deserves, because she has a firm grasp on her own inherent worth and refuses to accept anything that does not measure up to her standards. She is a force of nature, radiating an aura of quiet confidence that commands attention without demanding it. She walks into rooms with a subtle yet undeniable presence, not because she feels the need to prove anything to anyone, but because she is already secure in who she is, flaws and all. She does not need to be the loudest voice in the room, constantly vying for attention, because her very presence speaks volumes, conveying a sense of inner peace and unwavering self-assurance. She observes, she listens, she analyzes, and when she does choose to speak, people instinctively listen, not because she demands their attention, but because she has something genuinely valuable to say, something that stems from deep reflection and insightful observation. Her strength is not rooted in her ability to dominate or manipulate others, but rather in her unwavering commitment to remaining true to herself, regardless of external pressures. She does not engage in unnecessary drama. She does not waste her precious time trying to please people who do not genuinely matter, and she has mastered the art of prioritization, directing her energy towards endeavors that are valued and reciprocated, rather than those that are draining and unfulfilling. She fiercely protects her inner peace at all costs, understanding that peace is the bedrock of her power, the foundation upon which she builds her life. The world, often short-sighted and superficial, frequently underestimates a woman who genuinely enjoys her own company. However, this is a grave error in judgment, a profound miscalculation of her true potential. They fail to realize that this woman is not running away from the world out of fear or insecurity. She's actively preparing to change it, to leave her indelible mark on society. She is utilizing her solitude to meticulously build her dreams, to meticulously plan her strategies, and to constantly evolve into the best version of herself. When she finally steps forward, ready to unleash her power upon the world, she will not be tentatively asking for permission. She will not be anxiously waiting for approval, and she will not be seeking external validation to fuel her ambitions. Instead, she will walk with a quiet yet unwavering sense of certainty, a conviction that only comes from a deep and unwavering self-awareness. A woman who spends time alone is not weak. She is not passively waiting for something to happen, and she is not desperately searching for something to complete her. Instead, she is actively creating, constantly growing, and continuously becoming the best version of herself. And that is what makes her truly unstoppable. A woman who spends time alone has discovered the rarest and most elusive kind of freedom. Freedom from the suffocating expectations of others, freedom from the relentless pressure of societal norms, and freedom from the incessant need to constantly explain herself to those who cannot or will not understand her. She is not bound by the fleeting and often fickle opinions of others, nor does she seek their validation to define her self-worth. While the world often tells women that they must always be surrounded by others to be happy, to be fulfilled, and to be considered successful, she bravely defies that outdated expectation and consciously chooses solitude instead, not because she feels compelled to, but because she genuinely wants to. That conscious and deliberate choice makes her powerful beyond measure, granting her an autonomy and self-possession that most people can only dream of. She understands something that many people spend their entire lives struggling to grasp. The person who knows themselves the best, who has cultivated a deep and unwavering understanding of their own strengths, weaknesses, and values, cannot be easily controlled by anyone else. She has spent countless hours, days, even years, in her own company, fearlessly facing her deepest fears, meticulously healing her past wounds, and learning to love herself fully and unconditionally, flaws and all. There is nothing more dangerous, more empowering, than a person who does not fear their own mind, who is not afraid of silence, and who does not need external distractions to feel complete. This woman has learned that solitude is not synonymous with loneliness. Rather, it is a period of essential preparation, a time for deep reflection and profound self-discovery. It is in those quiet moments, away from the chaos of the outside world, that she becomes stronger, wiser, and more self-assured, forging an unbreakable bond with her own inner being. She meticulously builds a life based on her own deeply held desires and aspirations, not on what others expect from her or what society deems to be acceptable. She moves through life at her own pace, unbothered by the relentless rush of the world around her, trusting in her own timing and intuition. She does not seek out relationships out of boredom or insecurity, but rather seeks them out of a conscious and deliberate choice to share her life with someone who genuinely enriches her existence, knowing that anyone who enters her life must add to it, not diminish it in any way. People often mistake her independence for coldness, assuming that because she enjoys her own company, she does not need or want genuine human connection. However, they profoundly misunderstand her. She values connection deeply, so deeply, in fact, that she refuses to settle for anything less than authentic, meaningful relationships that are built on a foundation of mutual respect, trust, and genuine appreciation. She does not waste her precious time with people who drain her energy, who bring unnecessary drama into her life, or who do not align with her vision for the future. She has spent too much time and effort cultivating her own inner peace to allow anyone to disrupt it, understanding that her peace is a non-negotiable aspect of her well-being. She is a woman who listens far more than she speaks, observing before she reacts, and understanding that true power is not found in loudness or aggression, but in a quiet and unwavering presence. She walks into a room, and people can feel her energy before she even utters a single word, drawn to her aura of calm confidence and self-possession. This is the kind of woman who does not need to announce her strength or constantly assert her dominance. It radiates from within, a testament to the inner work she has done and the unshakable belief she has in herself. She is comfortable in her own skin, unapologetic about who she is, and unshaken by the judgments of others, understanding that their opinions are merely reflections of their own internal struggles and have no bearing on her own self-worth. Many people will try to figure her out, to dissect her silence, to analyze why she does not crave the same constant validation that so many others desperately seek, but they will never truly understand her because she does not need to be understood by everyone. She is not seeking to fit in, she is not chasing approval, and she is not trying to conform to anyone else's expectations. She is meticulously building a life on her own terms, guided by her own inner compass, and that makes her unpredictable, untouchable, and unstoppable. A woman who is comfortable in solitude is not easy to manipulate or control. She does not fear walking away from situations that no longer serve her. She does not fear losing people who do not align with her deeply held values. And she does not cling to relationships out of desperation or a fear of being alone. She has walked alone before, and she is not afraid to do it again, understanding that being alone is far better than being surrounded by the wrong people, those who drain her energy and diminish her spirit. She consciously chooses quality over quantity in all aspects of her life, her relationships, her use of time, and her allocation of energy. She is dangerous because she cannot be bought with empty compliments or convinced to lower her standards for the sake of convenience or social acceptance. She has already invested significant time and effort in understanding her own inherent worth, and she will not accept anything less than what she genuinely deserves. She does not fall for mere words. She demands consistent actions that back up those words. She does not entertain inconsistency or mixed signals. She values stability and predictability in her relationships. She does not chase after anyone's attention or affection. She attracts those who are genuinely aligned with her, and that is what sets her apart from the rest. This woman does not fear change or shy away from the unknown. She embraces it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. She understands that true growth comes from stepping outside of one's comfort zone, that transformation requires periods of solitude for deep reflection, and that greatness is built in the quiet moments when no one else is watching, when she is solely accountable to herself. While others are busy seeking external distractions to numb their pain or avoid their insecurities, she is diligently working towards becoming the best version of herself, constantly learning, consistently evolving, and meticulously creating a future that is aligned with her own deeply held vision, not anyone else's expectations. When she speaks with purpose and intention, carefully choosing her words to convey her message with clarity and conviction. She does not waste words on meaningless conversations or idle gossip. She values her time too much for that. Instead, she speaks to inspire, to uplift, to impart wisdom, and to bring genuine value into every interaction. Because she does not speak simply to fill the silence. People instinctively listen when she does speak, understanding that her words carry weight, her presence commands respect, and her silence is often louder and more impactful than any noise. But the world does not always know what to do with a woman like this, a woman who defies expectations and challenges the status quo. She does not fit neatly into the predefined molds that society has created for her, and she does not play by the rules that were designed to keep women subservient and compliant. She is not waiting for permission to live the life she wants. She is not asking for approval to pursue her dreams, and she is simply being fully, unapologetically, and powerfully herself. And that is what makes her unstoppable. A woman who embraces solitude is a woman who has met herself in the deepest way possible, forging an unbreakable bond with her own inner being. She has walked through the fire of self-reflection, sat in the silence of her own thoughts, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. She does not run from herself, from her emotions, or from the truth. She faces them head-on with courage and vulnerability. She has learned to sit with her pain, to grow from her past wounds, and to rise from her struggles with even more wisdom and strength, understanding that these challenges have shaped her into the woman she is today. She is not afraid of being alone because in solitude, she has found her greatest ally, herself. People often underestimate her because she does not seek attention, approval, or validation from external sources. However, they fail to realize that she doesn't need any of those things to feel complete because she has already validated herself from within. She does not require constant reassurance to feel secure because she has built an unshakable foundation of self-trust, believing in her own abilities and intuition. She does not fear the opinions of others because she knows that they do not define her, understanding that her self-worth comes from within. She has become her own source of confidence, her own source of strength, and her own source of happiness. And that is what makes her truly dangerous in a world that thrives on insecurity and external validation. She has learned the crucial difference between being alone and being lonely, understanding that loneliness comes from seeking fulfillment outside of oneself, while solitude is about discovering fulfillment within, cultivating a deep sense of inner peace and contentment. While others are constantly searching for something or someone to make them feel whole, she has already done the inner work to realize that she is already whole and complete on her own. She has spent countless hours with her thoughts, her dreams, her fears, and her ambitions, exploring the depths of who she is and gaining a level of self-awareness that most people never reach in their entire lifetimes. She does not fear losing people because she knows that anyone who is meant to be in her life will stay, and anyone who leaves was never truly aligned with her purpose. She does not beg for love, friendship, or validation because she understands that true connection cannot be forced. It must be freely given and mutually reciprocated. She values her energy too much to waste it on those who do not appreciate it, understanding that her time and attention are precious resources that should be invested wisely. She knows that not everyone deserves access to her inner world, and she has no problem closing the door on relationships that no longer serve her growth or align with her values. She moves through life with intention, with clarity, and with a quiet but powerful confidence, radiating an aura of self-possession that commands respect without demanding it. She does not need to be the loudest person in the room to be heard. Her presence alone speaks volumes, conveying a sense of inner peace and unwavering self-assurance. She does not need to prove her worth to anyone because she already knows it, understanding that her self-worth is inherent and cannot be diminished by external factors. She does not engage in petty arguments or meaningless drama because she sees beyond the surface, focusing on the bigger picture and refusing to be drawn into trivial conflicts. She understands that true power lies in control. Control over her emotions, control over her actions, and control over her own destiny. People often wonder why she does not crave the same things they do, why she does not feel the need to constantly be surrounded by others, why she does not chase after relationships, and why she seems so content in her own presence. However, they do not realize that she has found something far more valuable than fleeting connections or surface-level interactions. She has found herself. She has built a strong and unwavering relationship with her own mind, her own soul, and her own purpose. And because of that, she walks through life with a level of peace and certainty that few can match. She is selective with her time, her energy, and her emotions, understanding that these are precious resources that should be invested wisely. She does not waste her breath on things that do not matter. She does not allow negativity to disrupt her peace, and she does not lower her standard for the sake of convenience or social acceptance. She has worked too hard to build herself up to let anything or anyone bring her down, understanding that her self-worth is non-negotiable. She understands that her time alone is not wasted. It is invested in strengthening her mind, deepening her understanding of herself, and sharpening her vision for her life. People often try to understand her, to figure out what makes her different, and they are intrigued by her independence, her discipline, and her ability to stand firm in who she is. However, they do not realize that the secret is simple. She has chosen herself. She has chosen to be her own best friend, her own protector, and her own guide, understanding that she is capable of providing herself with everything she needs to thrive. She does not need someone else to complete her, because she is already whole and complete on her own. And when a woman reaches this level of self-mastery, she becomes unstoppable. She does not fear the unknown because she trusts herself to handle whatever comes her way, understanding that she has the inner resources to overcome any challenge. She does not rely on others to give her direction because she has already created her own path, guided by her own inner compass. She does not allow society's expectations to define her worth because she has built her own definition of success based on her own deeply held values. She does not seek permission to live the way she wants. She simply does it, unapologetically and with unwavering self-belief. The world often expects women to be dependent, to be accommodating, and to be constantly giving of themselves, prioritizing the needs of others above their own. However, this woman knows that her power lies in balance, understanding that she cannot pour from an empty cup. She gives generously, but she also protects her own energy, setting healthy boundaries and refusing to be taken advantage of. She loves deeply, but she also has strong boundaries, refusing to tolerate disrespect or mistreatment. She supports others wholeheartedly, but she never forgets to support herself first, understanding that her own well-being is essential to her ability to make a positive impact on the world. She understands that in order to be truly strong, she must first be strong for herself. People may try to label her as cold, distant, or unapproachable, but the truth is she is simply focused, intentional, and unstoppable. She has built a world where she does not need to chase after anyone because the right people will always find her, drawn to her authenticity and inner strength. She does not need to explain herself because her actions speak louder than words, demonstrating her values and her commitment to living a life of purpose. She does not need to seek external validation because she has already validated herself, understanding that her self-worth comes from within. A woman who spends time alone is a woman who is preparing for something bigger than the world can see, something that transcends the limitations of societal expectations and taps in her own unique potential. She is not isolated. She is strategizing, carefully planning her next move, and honing her skills. She is not antisocial. She is focused, prioritizing her energy and attention on endeavors that align with her goals. She is not lost. She is becoming, constantly evolving and growing into the best version of herself. When she finally steps forward, ready to unleash her power upon the world, she will not do so hesitantly. She will not ask for permission, and she will not wait for approval. Instead, she will move with the certainty, the power, and the confidence of a woman who knows exactly who she is, what she wants, and what she is capable of achieving, and that is what makes her dangerous. A woman who spends time alone is not withdrawing from the world out of fear or insecurity. She is actively mastering herself, cultivating her inner strength, and preparing to make a lasting impact. She is fine-tuning her instincts, strengthening her mindset, and sharpening her vision, becoming a force to be reckoned with. In a world that constantly demands attention, approval, and external validation, she has chosen a different path: self-mastery. She is not distracted by the noise of the world because she understands that true power is cultivated in silence, in the quiet moments of introspection and self-reflection. She does not seek to impress others because she has already impressed herself with her own resilience, discipline, and unwavering self-belief, understanding that her self-worth is not contingent on the opinions of others. She understands the value of her energy, and she does not give it away freely, wasting it on superficial connections or meaningless interactions. She does not waste her time on people who do not appreciate her presence, nor does she engage in conversations that drain her spirit. Every interaction she has is intentional, and every relationship she invests in serves a purpose, contributing to her growth and well-being. She does not allow herself to be consumed by superficial connections or temporary emotions. Instead, she builds meaningful, lasting bonds with those who respect her boundaries and match her level of depth, creating a supportive network of like-minded individuals. She is not waiting for someone to save her, and she is not hoping for external circumstances to magically change her life. She knows that she is responsible for her own happiness, success, and fulfillment, and she takes ownership of her destiny. She does not place her dreams in the hands of others. She does not wait for permission to pursue her goals, and she does not make excuses for why she cannot become the woman she envisions herself to be. Instead, she puts in the work every single day, consistently striving towards her aspirations, because she understands that nothing great is achieved without effort, sacrifice, and persistence. A woman who spends time alone is deeply connected to her intuition, that quiet inner voice that guides her toward what is right and warns her of what is wrong. She listens to that inner wisdom, trusting its guidance and allowing it to inform her decisions. She does not ignore her instinct for the sake of pleasing others, nor does she override her feelings to conform to expectations. She trusts herself enough to walk away when something does not align with her values, understanding that her integrity is non-negotiable. She honors her emotions, acknowledging and processing them with self-compassion, but she does not let them control her, allowing them to cloud her judgment or dictate her actions. She has learned to balance her heart with her mind, her passion with her logic, and her dreams with reality, creating a harmonious integration of her inner world. Her solitude is her sanctuary, a sacred space where she can retreat to find clarity, to refuel her soul, and to strategize her next move. While others fear being alone, she embraces it, cherishing the opportunity for introspection and self-reflection. She understands its power to heal, to inspire, and to empower, and she utilizes it to cultivate her inner strength and resilience. She has made peace with her own presence, accepting herself fully and unconditionally, and in doing so, she has freed herself from the need for constant external stimulation. She has learned that true fulfillment comes from within, not from the distractions that so many chase in an attempt to avoid their own inner work. She does not seek revenge against those who have wronged her. She does not waste her energy on proving a point to those who underestimated her, and she does not engage in petty battles to validate her strength. Instead, she focuses on her growth, on her purpose, and on her evolution, understanding that these are the most effective forms of retribution. She knows that success is the best response to doubt, that silence is the most powerful answer to disrespect, and that self-respect is the greatest form of empowerment. She does not allow society's definition of a strong woman to confine her, understanding that strength comes in many forms and that she does not need to conform to any predefined mold. She does not need to be aggressive to be powerful, nor does she need to be loud to be heard, understanding that true strength lies in her authenticity and self-possession. She understands that strength can be found in the softness of her kindness, in the depth of her wisdom, and in the quiet way she carries herself with dignity and grace. She does not need to announce her power because those who truly see her can feel it, drawn to her aura of quiet confidence and unwavering self-belief. Her independence does not mean she does not love deeply. In fact, she loves with intensity, with passion, and with unwavering devotion, but only when that love is earned, understanding that her heart is a precious gift that should be given wisely. She does not give her heart away easily because she understands its worth, knowing that she deserves to be loved fully and unconditionally. She has learned to love herself first, and because of that, she does not settle for anything less than the kind of love that nourishes her soul, that challenges her to grow, and that aligns with her purpose. She would rather be alone than in the wrong company, understanding that her peace and well-being are non-negotiable. She would rather walk her path in solitude than compromise her value for the sake of belonging, understanding that her integrity is worth more than any external validation. People often wonder why she moves the way she does, why she is selective with her time, why she is unbothered by the opinions of others, and why she does not crave attention. However, they do not realize that she has already found everything she needs within herself, understanding that her self-worth is inherent and cannot be diminished by external factors. She does not seek to be understood by those who do not share her depth, and she does not waste her breath explaining herself to those who do not see her vision, understanding that her energy is better spent on those who appreciate her authenticity. She does not shrink herself to fit into spaces that were never meant for her. Instead, she creates her own spaces where she can thrive and express herself fully. She has embraced the reality that not everyone will understand her, and that is okay, because she is not for everyone. She is not meant to be easily categorized, easily influenced, or easily controlled. She is a force of nature, a woman who walks with purpose, who moves with confidence, and who speaks with conviction. She knows where she is going, and she will not be stopped by distractions, doubts, or the limitations that others try to place on her. She is dangerous to those who seek to manipulate, control, or diminish her. She is dangerous to those who rely on insecurity to keep people small, and she is dangerous to a world that benefits from women doubting themselves. Because she does not doubt herself, she does not question her worth, and she does not need permission to take up space, to have a voice, or to demand what she deserves. A woman who spends time alone is not lost. She is becoming. She is not broken. She is rebuilding. She is not waiting. She is preparing. And when she finally steps forward, she will do so with a power that cannot be denied, a vision that cannot be shaken, and a confidence that cannot be broken. Conclusion: the dawn of the self-possessed woman. And when the world finally realizes who she truly is, it will not know what to do with her, because she will not be asking for a seat at the table. She will be building her own, creating her own opportunities, and defining her own success. And so she rises, not with noise, not with desperation, and not with the need to be seen, but with the quiet certainty of a woman who knows exactly who she is, what she wants, and what she is capable of achieving. She does not beg for space. She creates it. She does not chase approval. She embodies it, radiating an aura of self-assurance that inspires others to believe in themselves. She does not seek permission. She moves forward with or without it, trusting in her own intuition and inner strength. A woman who spends time alone is not waiting for the world to give her a place. She is building her own world, shaping her destiny with each choice, each moment of silence, and each act of self-respect. And when she speaks, people listen, drawn to the wisdom and insight that she has cultivated through her solitude. When she moves, people feel her presence, recognizing her aura of quiet confidence and unwavering self-belief. When she loves, she does so fiercely but wisely, understanding that her heart is a precious gift that should be given with intention and discernment. She is not afraid of the unknown because she is the unknown. She is the mystery that people try to unravel, the force they cannot contain, and the woman they cannot define, and that is what makes her powerful. That is what makes her dangerous, because a woman who has mastered herself is a woman who cannot be controlled. And once she realizes that, once she steps in her full power, there is nothing and no one that can stop her from achieving her dreams and making a lasting impact on the world. In conclusion, the woman who embraces solitude is not to be pitted or misunderstood. She is to be admired and respected, for she embodies the truest form of strength and self-possession. She is a force to be reckoned with, a catalyst for change, and a beacon of hope for all women who dare to break free from societal expectations and embrace their own unique path. Key takeaways. Solitude is not loneliness, but a powerful tool for self-discovery and growth. A woman who enjoys her own company cannot be easily manipulated or controlled. Independent women prioritize their values and set firm boundaries. Spending time alone allows for reflection, planning, and personal evolution. These women are self-assured, confident, and often radiate quiet strength. They prioritize meaningful connections over superficial relationships. They embrace change and growth, constantly striving to become the best version of themselves. Their strength comes from inner peace and unwavering self-belief.